Hi everybody, Richard Tromans here again at Artificial Lawyer TV. Today we're doing another product walkthrough. This time it's SimpleDocs and their collaboration with OneNDA. To tell us a bit more about it is Preston. Hi Preston.
Richard,
Before we get into the demo, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and this combination?
sure. Well, I am the CEO and co-founder of SimpleDocs. We launched about a year ago, and the biggest part of our partnership with Electra and the team at TLB has been the relationship and how we integrate OneNDA into the product, and that's what I'm going to show you today.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I'll disappear and let you do the demo and I'll come back at the end for a little bit of Q&A.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Richard. Hey, everybody, let's jump into it. Again, my name is Preston Clark. I'm the CEO and co-founder at SimpleDocs. At SimpleDocs, our focus is automating routine contracts. And to illustrate that, we partnered with OneNDA, which is, as many of you know, is a global standard for non-disclosure agreements, one of the most adopted, if not the most adopted standard across the world. And we help adopters of OneNDA accelerate and automate the process through a product called OneClick, which we launched a few weeks ago and has already taken the world by storm. We already have incredible adoption. Hundreds and hundreds of in-house teams are using it. And I'm going to take a few minutes today to tell you what it is, show you how it works, and show you how to get started. Because when we say it's easy to use, it also means that literally in the time it takes me to demo it, you can be up and running and testing this within your own organization. So let's dive into it and get started. This is an email I received yesterday, and it's such a good summary of what it is we are doing that I couldn't help but put it in a slide form. I'm going to read it to you now. When I first saw OneClick, I got really excited. I can distribute a URL to my entire team, and they can self-serve NDAs with no legal involvement. I'm not aware of another tool in the market this simple, and we already have a full CLM. We are not a full CLM. We're not competing with full CLMs. We integrate with CLMs, but oftentimes when we think about something like automating an NDA process, we think, oh, that's what contract management platforms are for. And while they're certainly capable of doing it, oftentimes they're not doing it to the extent or to the degree that is necessary, or more importantly, they're not doing it to the degree that is solving the pain for the legal team, for the business teams. And so that is the idea behind OneClick and SimpleDocs and the partnership with OneNDA. I'm going to share a few slides, and then I'm going to get right into the product and give you a live demo. So first things first, we make it really, really easy to generate an NDA request. The platform allows for your business teams to send those out through the platform. But what I'm going to show you today is the counterparty initiated version, which is called OneClick, which allows your entire organization to send out one link that enables the counterparty to start the process. And as mentioned, it is built around the OneNDA global template, global standard, global template. Once the NDAs are signed, so we emphasize simplicity. It's easy to get started, it's easy to use, it's easy to adopt, but there's lots of power and strength behind the scenes, because you're going to say, well, does this integrate with my e-sign tools? Where did the documents end up? Are the documents secure? All of these questions that discerning legal teams were going to have, that sits in the background. And so the answers to those questions are very, very good. And so as much as I'm going to emphasize simplicity and speed today, I also want to emphasize the strength of the platform and the robustness of it. And so every NDA that runs through OneClick ends up in the SimpleDocs repository, which you have access to. There are advanced permissions and settings that determine who sees what. And of course, we can integrate this with other platforms as well if you already have your own repository. We also streamline negotiations. And so when we say we want to accelerate the NDA, our hope is that 70, 80, 90% of the time, we're getting that through for you without any red lines. And that's a part of why the OneNDA global standard is so important, because it is just negotiated materially less often than the one that you would draft. And so you combine a global standard with an automated tool that makes it very, very fast. And the assumption is we're going to get to signature faster and more often without editing, without redlining. However, as all of us know, when negotiations do take place with an NDA, they're commonly very, very standard. And so we have built in-app negotiations for purpose, duration, country, governing law, and dispute resolution. For those familiar with OneNDA, these will sound familiar because these are the OneNDA variables. And so what this means is, I'll show you in a minute, is that the counterparties can propose changes to these variables, and the streamlining process of how these come back to you or someone else you designated on the legal team to reject, modify, or approve keeps the process moving without moving into red line land, which will slow down an NDA process, as we all know. We integrate with DocuSign and Dropbox Sign and Adobe Sign. This is really important because you often, most of our customers, most of our users already have an e-sign tool, and so they're very happy to be automating the process with us, but they don't want us controlling or powering their e-sign experience. And we make this part really, really, really simple. And so in about 2 minutes, you can integrate with an e-sign tool. You don't need our help for that. I'll show you how to do it and what it looks like. But this is the speed and power of the platform. And of course, we have very good data privacy and security. I just bring this up because as you are processing through what it might look like to bring this into your organization, this is going to be one of your questions. So we have a great trust center powered by Drata. We're SOC 2 Type 1 compliant as of March, and we will be Type 2 as of the end of this month, as of May 2024. So let's jump into the platform now. I'm going to make this as quick as I can. And if you ever want a live demo, you can always email me directly at preston@simpledocs.com. Everything runs through the workflow. And so when I say it's really, really easy to use and adopt, the idea is that you are at the end of this going to have, and I'm going to paste this here, your own, and sorry, Richard, I put artificial lawyer here. You're not a customer or a client, but for branding purposes, to emphasize that this is customizable, this is now the front door for all NDA requests initiatable by the counterparty. So this is the link you'll give to your business and sales teams. They will send this out and say, hey, John, excited about the partnership. Here's our NDA form, complete this, and it will be routed for review and signature. So all that is required is a bit of information from the counterparty. You hit submit, and it immediately gets routed for review and signature by whoever they've designated. The logo is customizable. You can put links and information here. We recommend some information about OneNDA, so they have some context in the document that they're going to be reviewing. You may also provide some contact information or other resources about your organization as well. Once this is generated and in process, all in-process NDAs will be visible to you, whoever doesn't, irrespective of who generated it. And in that process, when you're looking at an NDA, you can also see what the counterparty is seeing relative to the review and signature process. In this case, they're seeing the OneNDA standard. They have the adopter badge on top. They can review the document as needed. And then at the bottom, when I mentioned the ability to propose changes, here's where that lives. They can modify confidentiality period or whatever it may be. So in this case, let's decide we want to go from 2 to 5 years. Now I'm going to go to send changes. And now this is back to our legal admin. Your changes were submitted to the sender for review, and now they can either accept, reject, or modify. Okay. Once an NDA is completed, it ends up back in the repository, so you'll have full visibility into who reviewed it, who signed it. Of course, you can see the document itself, all of the metadata. If it was negotiated, the negotiation history will live there as well. All of this is included within the repository. The last thing I'm going to show you, because I want to be mindful of time here, is that it's very, very easy to configure. So we didn't talk about your defaults and your configurations. We talked about the endpoint of sharing this link. Everything is modifiable from a variable perspective at the workflow level. So you can modify your standard terms. You can modify standards. Do you want the NDAs to come to you first before they're routed for signature? Do you want there to be auto reminders? Do you want it to expire? If the counterparty hasn't signed it in a certain period of time? We have advanced permissions. You indicate who your signers are, who your approvers are. So these are all behind the scenes that make this such a easy to use product for the business teams and the counterparty. You can modify your company information. You can upload your logo. You can create repository settings so you can determine who sees and use what within the platform. I mentioned the integration is incredibly simple, and all you really need to do is click on this pencil, indicate that you want to add your own DocuSign account, Dropbox, whatever. You click on connect, and literally within 10 seconds, your integration will be live and running. That is the basics. So we talked about it's really simple to configure. It's really simple to send, and everything is tracked and secured and secure and gives you visibility. And so your business teams, as well as your legal team, can go and see the status of the NDAs as they're moving through the process. I'll pause there, pass it back to you, Richard, but that is the quick overview of OneClick and how we've integrated OneNDA into the platform.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic, Preston. Really interesting. Just a couple of quick sort of you might say structural questions. Number one, for people who don't know much about NDAs, and I imagine most of the audience does, but just to clarify, what kind of NDA are we talking about here? Because there are many different types of NDA.
Sure. So this is a mutual non-disclosure agreement drafted by a large team of attorneys over many months, orchestrated by Electra and the team at TLB. And side note, we haven't officially announced this yet, so sort of sneak peek. We do have an M&A version coming soon, which is here. Have not officially announced it yet, but here we are. There are other versions, there are other languages that will be added, but this is a mutual non-disclosure agreement that is built into the one-click experience.
Fantastic. Another key point, although this is all about standardization, there is modification. The modifications that you can make, which you've built into the system, can you add additional modifications? I can see a lawyer looking at those and going, maybe I can modify even more things, you know?
Yeah. So great question. So you have featured some great discussions and debate at Artificial Lawyer between the folks at Bond Term and Common Paper and certainly Electra at OneNDA about the notion of when you represent a standard, can it be modified? Should it be modifiable beyond these variables? And as a general ideological matter, I'm in the business of building and selling software. And so if you want to do something, I should let you do it. But it is important to understand that moving the NDA faster, part of it is making it more restrictive and saying, listen, if you're going to negotiate for style, it's probably not a good use of time. And this has been adopted by some of the largest organizations in the world. So let's trust that this is sufficient for our needs. That said, Richard, when you're in the platform itself, I've already sent this one back for changes, but you can download it and make edits. At that point, as Electra and others will tell you, you've now deviated from the OneNDA standard, but we do accommodate that. So we do have an app, we do allow for red line tracking, and this can mean that the end result is that you are storing and housing NDAs that have been modified beyond sort of the traditional standard of OneNDA.
Got you. But you, because of the number of people, number of senior lawyers who contributed, you do strongly recommend they stick with the standard.
I do because when the other party receives it, we need to be able to give them confidence that this is the document that they understood. And so as more and more people adopt OneNDA, it's with an understanding of both what it is and what it is not. And if we're allowing for lots of preemptive modifications to that, it doesn't speed up the process as much as we need it to. And side note, and this is a total sort of departure from the demo, I don't think that that's the case with cloud service agreements and other agreement types that just by their very nature require a lot of customization and configuration. I think that the NDA, perhaps uniquely, perhaps individually, is the document type that should stand on its own in order to accelerate as we all want it to. So that's my ideological view, or as far as it goes.
Got you. No, no, it makes total sense. Another practical question. So let's say someone's looking at this and they go, yes, I want this in my organization. How do they do it? How do they go
Yeah.
about bringing this
So
in?
we've made it super simple. So if you go over to onenda.org, even if you've already adopted the platform and already have the template, you can go over to one click. It's in the nav bar, and you complete this form. And just like that, you will be inside the platform. And what you're going to see is exactly this experience. You're going to come in, your one-click workflow will already be set up. You have to, of course, you know, put your terms and your defaults, put your company information, but the workflow is ready to go. So Richard, in minutes from filling this out, you can have your own page up and running, your own URL to share out with counterparties.
Fantastic. And last question, another practical one. How much does it cost?
Yeah. So what is included for free? So everything I just showed you is included for free. You get your first 20 NDAs. And so, depending on the size of your organization, that may be a lot or a little. But all of the features, the repository, the e-sign integration, the configurable workflows, in-app negotiations, all of that comes standard. And then you can upgrade based on the volume of NDAs that you sign, and any other sort of advanced, like we integrate with HubSpot and Salesforce and all these other tools. So there's enterprise capabilities here, but you can get started really, really simple, and get up your first 20 NDAs for free.
Fantastic. Thank you, Preston. Really interesting. And if anyone would like to know more information about it, just to repeat for the audience, what's the best way for them to get hold of this information?
Yep, the best way is to go to onenda.org. And of course, SimpleDocs is the software behind this. So you can go read about us. You can go look at who our customers are. We have over 500 in-house teams on the platform today. So SimpleDocs.com is the software behind it. And I'm the CEO of that company. But really, the impetus of this presentation today is the relationship with OneNDA. So I encourage you to go to onenda.org, read about the template if you're not familiar with it, go to the one-click page, request access, and start testing it out.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thanks, Preston.
Hey, thank you so much, Richard.